God was preparing you, so the preparation was even, the failure was a part of the preparation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's part of it. You can't just walk away. You personally, that's your story. You had failure, then success when the timing was right.
I read a book recently by Dallas Willard about how to hear from God, and actually I've read it 2 or 3 times. Great book. And he said, when people ask me, how have you learned to hear from God? He said, by making a lot of mistakes. And you know, we're too afraid of our mistakes. We don't want anybody to think we've made a mistake. We want everybody to think that we're perfect. And I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with saying I missed it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that God would rather have somebody that's bold enough to try than somebody who just sits and does nothing all their life so they never look like they're wrong.
Beautiful.
And, you know, there's so many aspects to making it to the end of something. And one of them, Matt, is something that you and Laurie actually have been doing. And that is, as you go along, you have to be willing to change.
Wow.
Anybody who won't change will get left in the dust.
Wow.
You really will. And we had a situation in our ministry about 10 years ago where we started noticing that everybody in the crowd was my age. There were no young people. There was only people my age and older. Well, you know, if you don't bring new people in, I mean, what happens when everybody else is gone? So I realized that we weren't reaching, something was not right. Things were starting to decline. And it's really important to me that I finish. You know, people ask me if I'm ever going to retire, and I honestly, I have never figured out how you can retire from a call in your life.
Wow.
I mean, I've thought about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not, how do you say to God, well, I quit?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's different if you get to the point where you can't do something.
Right.
And you know that God's finished with it, then that's a totally different thing. But I want to finish, and I want to do everything that God is giving me to do. And you're talking about unshakable trust. I trust God for that.
Amen.
I trust God to still be able to be doing this. I want to be still helping people in some way until I draw my last breath.
Yeah.
That's what God has called me to. But 10 years ago, first of all, our son, who was then like 26, certainly not old enough or had the education to come on and be the CEO of a ministry. But the person we had was no more. And we really felt like he was supposed to do it, which doesn't make any sense. But we felt like he was supposed to do it. And now, you know, our other son has worked for us for a long time. He heads up the world missions. But we needed somebody with media knowledge. Well, he didn't have the knowledge, but he had wisdom. He had discernment. He was great at dealing with people, and he was really young. And so if you knew some of the stories of him trying to get me to change things, I mean, hilarious. One day we were in a big meeting, had everybody at the boardroom table, and they were trying to get me to make a decision that I wouldn't have liked. And so we were having our little spell there, and he's talking about his thing, and, you know, so when I got done, I said, now, if you notice, everybody in the room disagrees with me. And he said, well, of course they do. They're all your age. And, I mean, he could say things to me that nobody else could say.
Right.
And because I knew that he loved me, he'd get by with it. One day, I mean, I had stuff. I mean, I was like, I'm going to do this my way. And, like, there were certain colors I didn't like, so I would never let them use those colors in the magazine. It's like, I don't like that color. I don't like that color. And he said to me one day, well, did it ever occur to you that God hasn't called you to minister to yourself? There might be some other people out there that like that color.
We've just kind of been through this, haven't we?
Long story short, very long, we started making changes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we did things that I didn't care for. Still not crazy about all of them, but we're still here.